order. I would ask the secretary to please call roll.
Mrs. Thomas
Present.
from Mandeville. Mr. Valentine from Mandeville. Mr. Sanders from Slidell.
Present.
Mrs. Swindell from Covington.
Present.
Mr. Blosh from Mandeville.
Here.
Mr. Daly from Covington.
Present.
Mrs. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. With that being said, I will appoint Mr. Swindell and Sanders, who are alternates, as voting members for today so that we can listen to all the actions that we have on the agenda. Thank you for coming out in this rather cool weather. I know everyone is enjoying it, as we are. I would ask that you please silence all of your phones and your electronic devices. I would also say that if there are any appeals for people that may disagree with the decision of the Board of Adjustment, that you may go and take this to a higher court, to the district court. Speaker cards are available to the right, and if you have comments to make, either pro or con, then please fill out a speaker card. Public speaking, each person has the ability to speak for 10 minutes on each side and 5 minutes for rebuttal. As soon as your case has been heard, we would ask that you exit the building because we can hear out in the lobby and things like that. And so that's a bit disruptive to the people who are trying to present. So we thank you very much for that.
If I could just make one more note, I just wanted to note that your votes, Ms. Thomas, will be showing up as Valentine based on you sitting in the chair seat tonight. So just to make that note for anyone watching the screens here or at home.
Thank you. All right, the next order of business is approval of the June 6, 2023 minutes. Has everyone had an opportunity to read? Do I have any motions to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll also move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. It's been moved and approved that the meetings, minutes from June 6th are available and approved.
Oh, we just do a quick vote.
All right. With that, please vote.
Motion carries, all approved.
All right. Moving on, we will hear first Board of Adjustment case number 2023-3346. The case is the request by applicant in an A2 suburban district for an after-the-fact variance request to reduce the required rear yard setback from 19.3 to 12 feet. The property is located at 314 Street, Mandeville, Louisiana, Ward 4, District 4. The applicant is Cassandra L. Lequette. She is being represented by Charles M. Rayborn. This case was postponed from the June 6 meeting. State your name and your address, please, sir.
You do the staff report first. One moment, sir. Staff.
Oh, you didn't do the findings. You can't talk yet. Sorry. Hi, my bad. The staff has to report their findings before we can have you come forward, sir.
As per the Unified Development Code, the standard rear yard setback for a lot of record is 25 feet or 20% of the lot depth. In this case, because the depth of the lot is 96.24 feet, there's a requirement for a setback of 19.3 feet. Prior applications have been submitted in front of the Board of Adjustments, which have been denied in 2021. They were both after the fact of requests to reduce the required rear yard setback. And if you want to take a look at one of the last picture, it shows you that basically the carport or the porch was cut and brought into compliance with the required setback. Later on, currently, the current after-the-fact request consists of a 7.3-foot encroachment into the 19.3 required rear yard setback. Because the variance request is for a back porch and open deck, it should be noted that the encroachment is only for 160 square feet of the total area of the backyard. At this time, no evidence of hardship or practical difficulties have been demonstrated to warrant the support of this requested variance.
All right, sir, if you'll please state your name and your address.
I get this to, oh, it's working, good.
It's magic.
My name is Charles Raymond. I'm the attorney for Mrs. Luquette. I was not here at the prior two hearings, but I was retained for the enforcement proceeding, which I represented her at that time. A little background information. Miss Luquette is a widow. She decided to build this house herself and made a lot of mistakes, no doubt about it. But she submitted a set of plans to the parish, and the set of plans were done by a reputable architect. And the set of plans mirror everything that you see on Exhibit C, including the back porch. And the plans were approved. And then later on, the parish came rolling in and said, we reject your plans and you can't do this. Okay, so she had to make some adjustments. But she wants the back porch because the back porch adds to this aesthetic of her house. A little bit about the area that she lives in. That area over there is old rural area. It's been there for years. Many homes were built up. What you don't have in your packet is two overheads that I submitted that showed where people have built into the encroachment area, including her neighbor right behind her has a shed right up against the lot line. So you don't have that information in front of you. I don't know why. I submitted two sets for you all to have it. In the report, it says it's a 37% encroachment. We're not asking for that. We're asking for an variance just to have the back porch, which extends out from the house, and it's into the setback area. Okay, just that area. We don't care about the rest of the setback. You know, you can leave that as it is, but just that area, 160 square feet. It's not 37% of the encroachment, I can tell you that. It's about 12%. We submitted, and you have it in your packet, signatures from the neighbors who own property in the area. Okay, and those people have no objection. Many of those people are in a non-conforming use by putting structures within the setback area over there. There really is, it's not a defined subdivision over there. It's just basically lots that have developed out over the years. So we're going to ask this board to come and grant her the waiver for that back porch. Any questions?
Let me ask if there is anybody who is in the audience who is opposed to this that would like to come forward at this time. Seeing none, I will open this up for discussion. I would point out that we did receive an email.
This is for the next case.
But it's not for this case.
You
Scared you, didn't I? No.
You received an email?
No, sir,
mistake.
for the next case. I had the wrong case. I apologize. All right, are there any questions, please, from the board?
I'm just trying to recall, because I seem to remember this case. It was about a year or so ago.
It was in 2001.
Oh, wow.
Yes, she
Okay,
had
then
her,
I'm
I'm
confusing
sorry,
with some other one.
2021.
2021.
she had,
It was
Okay.
2 years ago.
Okay,
she had her builder show up who didn't know what he was doing.
okay. Right, yeah, because I remember it had really, there was some bad encroachment into the back property line, as I recall. It was actually built, I'm kind of foggy, I don't remember all the details of it, but so we're talking about how much square footage is going to encroach in? It's 7
160.
feet? 160 feet, square
Yeah.
feet?
The total setback area is 1,930 feet, square feet.
Okay. Okay, and I did read the petition from the folks that live in the area.
As did I.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Do I have any other comments? Mr. Swindell?
Yeah, listen, regardless of how I vote, I think that just generally, and this goes for really anybody that steps up to the podium, I think it's unwise to imply that this board should overlook compliance issues simply because others have done it.
No, that's not what I'm suggesting.
Well, in your statement, you particularly stated that others in the area have encroached, and, you know, I take that as an implication that we should use that as justification to simply to overlook this one.
My point there, if I might clarify, my point there was to show this board that may not be familiar with that particular area out there, that this area developed over time before the code ordinances were enacted uniformly. Now, I didn't put that in there, but I would assume that.
I understand. I think that's a better way to state it.
That's what I was trying to say.
But that being said, you know, we're in a difficult position up here because codes are updated all the time. The same with this Unified Development Code. It hasn't been in place forever. And for us to use that logic as justification is very difficult for us. And it's presented frequently in that fashion to us. So I just say that no matter how we vote, I think just respect that we're challenged up here to maintain these things for the parish going forward, and trying not to look back and keep things in the wrong. So.
And I certainly would understand that if this was a subdivision that was out, say, west of Madisonville, I would appreciate that there is a need for a setback line. But this is not. This came up over a long period of time. There's a lot of non-conforming out there. And so this is not going to, the intent of the code was to have basically an aesthetic approach to a subdivision so that everybody has kind of the same thing. You're not going to get there with this, not at all.
Just want to bring to the attention to the board members that, you know, Section 130-2191, which will more than likely had a different section number at the time, has been in effect for more than 25 years.
All right, Mr. Daly?
Oh, yes, thank you. So the setback issue with the porch itself was corrected by reducing its size, but the roof line is still there. Is that sort of my understanding is correct there, that we're talking about the roof line of above?
As I understand it, that the roof line can extend over into the setback area.
That's correct. The waiver is not for the roof. If you take a look at the picture that's included, they had basically cut the porch to meet the setback requirements. However, it can overhang, or the roof can overhang no more than 5 feet into the setback.
Okay.
And then after occupancy was granted, then the porch was reattached to the portion in question that was cut.
The porch was reattached.
Yes, as you can see.
Yes, it was.
If you,
It was.
Got it. That's the latest picture that we had. Okay, got it. Okay. Okay, yeah, thanks for that clarification, yeah.
All right, do you have anything else, sir?
No, I do not.
All right, I will entertain a motion on this case.
I'll make a motion. Sticking with the affirmative approach here, I'll make a motion that we approve the variance as requested.
It's been moved that we approve the variance as requested. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. It has been moved and seconded. We'll need to take a vote at this particular time to approve this.
motion fails.
Thank you.
Now we're at 3387. Okay. All right, moving on to BOA case 2023-3387. Request by applicant in a PUD planned unit development overlay to reduce the required rear setbacks from 10 foot to 1 foot. The property is located at North Verona Street, lots 53 and 54, Covington, Louisiana, Ward 1, District 3. applicant and representative Richard C. Lambert. Will the staff please provide findings?
The required setback for the Tuscany West Estates plan unit development are as follows: front 20 feet, side 5 feet, and rear 10 feet. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the required rear yard setback on lots 53 and 54 from 10 feet to 1 foot. A majority of the lots within the PUD have an average depth of 120 feet, and the subject lot has an average depth of 91 feet. After applying the required front, rear, and side yard setbacks, the petition property is left with an average buildable area of 61 feet in depth and 126 feet in width. The total square footage of the buildable area is standard within the Tuscany West Estate PUD, and therefore no evidence or hardship or practical difficulties have been demonstrated to warrant the support of the requested variance.
Thank you. With that being said, we did receive an email today. Hello, I am property manager for Tuscany West HOA. There is an agenda item listed for July 5th that concerns Tuscany West. The covenants and restrictions in this neighborhood require this lot to have a 10-foot setback. This is consistent throughout the neighborhood with other lots. The covenants also require the homeowner to get approval from the Architectural Control Committee for any new construction modifications to the property prior to work beginning. The Tuscany West Board of Directors and ACC would like to request the BOA to deny the setback change from 10 feet to 1 foot. DJ Audebert, property manager. Would anyone like to see that prior to calling them up? You've got them? Okay, good. All right, Mr. Lambert, are you here?
Yes, ma'am. I'm Richard Lambert. I live at number 7 Mark Smith in Woodstone in Mandeville. I own both lots. I've had them for over 10 years. The hardship is I can't sell them. The people that built them, almost all of the houses in Tuscany, would like to buy them, but they can't fit their standard plan on them. If you have a setback, a rear yard setback, and a neighbor across the fence, I would be against it. But I don't know if you have this, but it's kind of hard to see, but there's green space back there, 5.4 acres in perpetuity. No one will ever build there. That is the green space for the property. And the other lot is 2.6 acres. Nothing in Tuscany has that big a space behind them that will never be violated or never have a house built across the fence. So in order to sell the lots and have consistency with Tuscany, the people that built the houses in there need additional depth because it's only 61 feet, and if they put their garage back so that it's not, they don't want the garage up on the street, it gives them space to push their garage back, which makes a more attractive house. So the hardship is I can't sell them. The fact is no one will ever be across the fence from them. There's acres of land, bottomland hardwood there, green, beautiful forest. I can't imagine how that would hurt anything for them to be able to slide their garage back just like the adjacent houses on that street. So that's my appeal to you, and any questions for me?
Is there anyone here opposed that would like to speak to this case? With that being said, I'll open it to the board.
Excuse me, I might just mention that I don't think the neighborhood association appreciates what's behind these lots. I think just as a standard comment, you know, we all have a 10-foot setback, you know, they're opposing it. But I don't think that they really understand it or appreciate the fact that you'll get a better house with a garage setback consistent with everything in there on a beautiful green lot.
So just for edification, behind this would be technically 7 acres.
Behind one lot is 5.4,
So you're
behind the
selling
other is
2 lots.
2.6, yes,
Okay,
ma'am,
thank you.
in perpetuity.
All right. All right, Mr. Daly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with any of that. I think that we just have a process issue, and I think that probably your better step is to work through the HOA first, because we'd rarely vote to override an HOA that has their own covenants, because usually we're dealing with situations where the HOA has already approved something, the Architectural Review Board, and then it comes to us for the variance. So if I had to recommend, I would recommend postponing and getting their approval and then coming back.
Okay, I'll
As a-
do that.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Mr. Blanche, do you have a comment?
Basically, Ms. Daly was touching on the same points I was making, even if we were to approve this, and going forward, you make some very valid points, but then you're at a standstill, because then you're in violation of HOA rules according to the letter that we're receiving anyway. So I would, strongly suggest, just like what Ms. Daly has said, come back to us. We want to work with you on this, and it makes plausible sense, so.
Okay, thank you.
Do I have a motion to postpone?
make that motion. We have to vote.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, it's been moved,
And I'll second.
and Mr. Blanche seconds. Please vote.
All in favor? Case is postponed until August 1st.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, the next case that we will be hearing today is right here before me. BOA case 2023-3389. Request by applicant in an A2 suburban district for a waiver of the required 25-foot pond setback between parcels A and B. This property is located in the northeast corner of Louisiana Highway 41 and Evans Road, Bush, Louisiana, Ward 5, District 6. Applicant and representative is Carl Sternberger. Will the staff please report findings?
Comprised of 20.7 acres and is the subject of a concurrent application for a minor subdivision. The configuration of the proposed property lines within the minor subdivision will traverse through the pond, therefore requiring a variance to the required 25-foot setbacks between parcels. The pond makes up a majority of the subject 20.7 acres, and therefore any configuration of the property through the minor subdivision would require a variance to the required 25-foot setback in between the pond.
All right, is there anyone opposed to this that would like to speak at this time? All right, do I have any discussion on the board?
Anyone? Is the applicant here?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You didn't step forward, and I apologize for not recognizing you. Please step forward.
Hi, I'm Carl Sternberger. I live at 797 Chevrolet in Mandeville. And this piece of property was left to me and my brother, which when we did the paperwork to have the succession done, it was all put in his name until we can go further with it. And so that corner, that 5 acres is what we have kind of marked off, and I'm going to build my home there. A section of that 5 acres goes into the pond because the pond takes up a really large piece of the property. So that's pretty much it. We're not building anything in the pond. We're not doing anything in the pond. We maintain it. We have been for the last 20 years since my dad's owned the property. So that's pretty much it.
Thank you, sir. Anyone opposed before we talk about the letters we've received? All right, does everybody have a copy of the "To Whom It May Concern" by Mr. Sternberger, and then Dustin Sternberger, and
Which he's my brother. He's here with me.
everything's been notarized. Okay, all right. We will now open the floor for discussion on the board. Mr. Blanche?
Just a quick question. Now, I see the letters that they submitted in terms of maintenance for the pond. Is there a plan that's required or anything like that, or is it just the letters themselves?
The letters themselves are sufficient, yeah.
Good enough.
And for clarification, it does say each property owner has completed and signed a pond maintenance agreement. Is that correct? And these are contained in here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Blanche?
I'll offer a motion to approve, if that's what you're asking.
Is there a second to the motion to approve?
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve this variance. Please vote.
All in favor, motion carries.
Thank you all.
All right. Our next case is case number 2023-3390. Request by applicant in a A1A suburban district for variance to remove 4 trees located within the required southern 50-foot no-cut zone. The property is located at 61308 Lemos Boulevard, Lacombe, Louisiana, District 4, Ward 4, District 7. The applicant and representative is Keith J. Phillips, Sr. Will you please report the findings of the staff?
As per the Unified Development Code, a 25-foot buffer is required along the roadway, and a 50-foot no-cut buffer is required along the sides and the rear of a property abutting residential district. The applicant is requesting to remove a total of 4 trees located within the required southern 50-foot no-cut buffer. The reason for the request is that the 4 pine trees pose a threat to the existing residential structure located on the property. Should the board be in favor of the requested variance, it should be subject to the maintenance of all other required no-cut buffers.
All right, thank you. Please step
afternoon
forward,
to the
sir.
board.
Pardon?
Good afternoon to the board.
Good afternoon, sir. Your
My name is
and-
Keith Phillip. Yes, ma'am. And I was requesting that to,
Your address, please, sir. Your address as well, please.
61308 Lemuel Boulevard, Lacombe, Louisiana.
Thank you.
And I was requesting to cut those trees down because they pose a threat to the property and the family. 2 of them is really large trees, over 100 feet, and it's only 36 feet from the property. I have some pictures here of those trees. And I'm not against trees because I have a big pecan tree and an oak tree on the property. You know, I'm not trying to get them away from the house. They don't pose a threat like those pine trees. But yes, ma'am, that's just about it, you know. And dealing with insurance companies is not something that I would like to do. So.
Okay, well, I can understand that. Is there anyone here that is opposed to this particular request? All right, if not, Mr. Blanche.
Okay, this is, and I didn't bring my doggone tree guide, I meant to. Is there a replant schedule for removal of trees, like mature trees?
We don't have a replanting schedule in this case because of the fact that it's abutting, a very large treed area. It's only 4 trees, and the property owner stated that, he's willing to keep all the buffers even more. So
Okay.
basically, this is just a request to.
No, I mean, I
remove
certainly
it.
understand and appreciate where you're coming from on this.
Yes, sir. Well, there's 16 of them along there, but only those 4 pose a threat.
Those are the ones that could hit, yeah, I understand. Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, do I have any further discussion? Do I have a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the variance with the staff recommendation that it's subject to maintenance of all other required no-cut buffers.
It's been moved and seconded to approve this variance request. I'd like for us to vote, please.
All in favor, motion carries.
Thank y'all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving on to BOA case number 2023-3393. Request by applicant in an A3 suburban district for a variance to reduce the required rear yard setback from 25 feet to 20 feet and to reduce the required side yard setback from 10 feet to 7 feet. The property is located at 179 Chafuncta Drive, Covington, Louisiana, Ward 4, District 4. Applicant and representative Christopher J.
Lachardi.
Thank you, sir. Lachardi. I didn't want to really butcher it, so thank you. Will the staff please read their findings?
The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the 25-foot required rear yard setback to 20 feet and reduce the 10-foot required western side yard setback to 7 feet to allow for the construction of a shed/carport. The subject property is encumbered by a 20-foot utility servitude along the rear property line, which the applicant is trying to avoid by placing the structure within the side yard setback. It's staff's position that no practical difficulty or unnecessary hardship has been demonstrated, and the size of the structure could be reduced. In addition, if the applicant were to construct a detached shed carport, the required side and rear yard setbacks would be reduced to 10 feet, removing the need for a request to reduce the rear yard setback.
All right, sir.
My name is Chris Licciardi. I live at 179 Chifuncta Drive. First comment I'd like to make is the staff's recommendation that if it were a detached structure, I would be able to have the 10-foot setback, and I really can't because of the utility servitude, so it is a 20-foot setback. Ms. Lambert has been instrumental and helpful and very educational for this process, because my original desire was to build a detached garage carport, not have it attached to my house. But because of the utility servitude, I had to move it forward 10 feet, so part of it became attached to my house. I find myself taking notes like a schoolboy when I'm sitting in Ms. Lambert's office. She has so much information for me to deal with, so she's been extremely helpful. There is no hardship request for this. It's just I'm looking to do a detached garage and carport, and the size of the structure fits my woodworking equipment, and because of it being as close to my house as it now has to be, the garage door, without the side setback, would have the garage door 2 feet behind the house. I would not be able to maneuver vehicles into the garage. If it were a detached structure, it'd be 10 feet further back, and I wouldn't need anything. So that's pretty much where we are. I have letters from both adjacent neighbors with no problems, and when I first started this, the subdivision sent an email that they would not object to me building in the utility servitude if it were allowed by the parish, which it's not, so that became a moot point.
Right. All right, is there anyone here who is, objects to this particular variance request? Seeing none, does everybody have a copy of the letters from Seth and Paula Wells and Randy and Melissa Reynolds? All right. All right. Do I have any discussion from the board? Mr. Blanche?
Yeah, I'll just say this, it's kind of a weird situation in that if he separated his house from this property within 2 inches, I think, or so, or even built a, just a breezeway, then it wouldn't be, connected to the house, and he's okay.
Yeah, then the
So-
25-foot setback wouldn't apply. It would be a 20-foot setback. So-
Right.
And that's where
So
we are.
it's kind of a weird thing in our land use ordinances that we follow, but yeah, so I'm familiar with this, and I have no issue with it myself.
All right, are there any more comments from the board? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I needed a, I'm sorry,
I'll
I
make a
needed a motion. Mr. Chardy, would you like to make a motion? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chairman, I'll offer that motion to approve as submitted.
It's been moved to approve as submitted. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
It's been seconded by Mr. Daly. Now please vote.
Mr. Daly or Mr. Swindle?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at Mr. Daly and Mr. I don't know, you were speaking with his voice. All right, now you can vote. Thank you.
All in favor, motion carries.
Thank you very much, Ms. Helen. I'll be in touch for further information. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving on, and by way of a quick discussion from the chair, I don't do this every month. I'm the vice chair, so when I make those little bobbles, please forgive me. The board is very, very kind in this situation. All right, we're moving on to case number 2023-3403. Request by applicant in an A4 single-family residential district for a variance to reduce the rear yard setback from 25 feet to 10. Property is located at 209 Naco Drive, Mandeville, Louisiana, Ward 4, District 4. Applicant and representative Scott and Sherry Jernstrom. May I have the staff findings, please?
The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the required 25-foot rear yard setback to 10 foot 3 inches to allow for the construction of a storage shed, which will be attached to the rear of the existing garage. The existing garage is currently compliant with the required side and rear yard setbacks.
All right, please state your name and your address.
Elwin Ordorn, 409 Arborview Drive, Slidell, Louisiana. So we are applying for this variance. In Beauchene, again, not trying to give an excuse to approve this, but very commonly, the garages were detached in this neighborhood, and they had a single breezeway to walk underneath and stay out of the weather in order to get to the garages. So we do have a letter from Beauchene's Homeowners Association in our packet, and I'm hope that you all have it as well, saying it was very common that's their, it already fits their setbacks as is. We are screening in an area between the home and the garage. So when I spoke to a couple people, they said, well, we'll probably have to apply for a variance. It's only connecting to the home and the garage within a 6-foot section. It was attached before with a 3-foot section, but we'd like to add a storage building behind it, but unfortunately, we like to attach it instead of having a, like you mentioned earlier, a 2-inch gap or a 1-foot gap between the two buildings. So the garage, when you pull up to this property, it completely looks like it's detached, and we're not enclosing anything to join the two structures together. It's going to be a screened-in area.
All right, thank you, sir. Any other comments?
No, ma'am.
Anyone opposing this? All right, and does everybody have copies of the HOA agreement, et cetera? Okay. All right, any comments from the board? Mr. Blosh?
Yeah.
Mr. Daly?
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say that from what we got from the HOA is that their actual setback is 10 feet, not the parish is 25, so
Right.
this is a case where the HOA is more permissive of having a smaller setback.
Any further comments? If not, may I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted, or requested, sorry.
Mr. Daly made a motion. Do I hear a second? Mr. Blosh seconds. Let's vote.
All in favor, motion carries.
Thank y'all. Have a good evening.
All right, BOA case number 2023-3405 has been withdrawn. Not postponed, but withdrawn.
Correct.
Okay, so it has been withdrawn. All right. Moving on to, let me make sure I've got mine, yes. BOA case 2023-3406. Request by applicant in an HC Highway Commercial District for variance to allow for modification of an existing pylon sign. The property is located northeast corner of US Highway 190 and Park Place Drive, Covington, Louisiana, Ward 3, District 5. Applicant is St. Tammany Oaks Subdivision Association, LLC, Bo Bryant. Representative is Michael Saucier. Will the findings of the staff please be read?
Currently, pole signs are prohibited per the Unified Development Code within St. Tammany Parish. The existing pylon sign located at the entrance of the St. Tammany Oaks Commercial Subdivision was constructed prior to the implementation of the Unified Development Code, and it's therefore considered a legally nonconforming sign. Legally nonconforming signs immediately lose their nonconforming designation if the sign is replaced with a sign face which differs in sign message, or if it's repaired or improved by any means to the extent of more than 30% of its replacement costs. The applicant is requesting a variance to modify the existing legal nonconforming sign originally approved under a conditional use permit to allow for the placement of new panels to advertise new businesses within the commercial subdivision. Staff is not opposed to the requested variances as the size of the sign is being reduced by 38 square foot on the north and south elevations and by 44 square foot on the west elevation. Additionally, the existing east elevation sign will be removed and replaced with a stucco panel. The applicant has also expressed interest in moving the existing metal roof on the sign, which would reduce the height of the sign from 26 feet to 23 feet.
Thank you. Mr. Saucier?
Hi, my name is Jason Riebert. Mike Soche was not able to attend today's meeting.
Your address, please, sir.
Sure, 109 New Camellia Boulevard, Suite 100, Covington, Louisiana.
And you were involved in this case in what way, sir?
Our group owns, we
Owns
represent the St. Tammany Oaks Property Owners
Thank you.
Association. Hi, again, good afternoon. My name is Jason Riebert with Gulf States Construction Services. I'm here today on behalf of the St. Tammany Oaks Property Owners Association. As staff has mentioned, the case in front of you this afternoon is for the renovation of the existing pylon sign located on a 25-foot by 25-foot signage servitude at the corner of Highway 190 and Park Place at the entrance to the Tammany Oaks Shopping Center. Our partnership group had purchased the former Rouse's Food Store back in October and are currently in the process of redeveloping the property for 2 new tenants as part of a subdivision of the building, along with the creation of Lot 2A for an outparcel, which was created through the Parish subdivision process late last year. As mentioned, we are in the process of subdividing the building for 2 new tenants, Urban Air and Goldfish Swim School. Both those tenants are currently in for their building permit with St. Tammany Parish at this time, and we are expecting those businesses to be open by the end of this year, as construction should be starting here in the next couple weeks. As part of those 2 tenants, those are the 2 main tenants within the building. There are 2 additional subtenants that are going to be located within the Urban Air and Goldfish Swim School. It's the XP Gaming service, along with a future ice cream location. So as part of the redevelopment of that particular lot 2, we turned our attention to the existing signage as part of the overall subdivision. As staff had mentioned, the existing pylon sign located at Park Place and Highway 190 as part of this subdivision was built back in the late 90s and is in need of much-needed renovation. Signage has shown its age. In addition to the new tenants that are going to be added to this development, we wanted to take the opportunity to look at some possibilities for adding some signage panels for these new tenants in the out parcel, along with creating a new aesthetically pleasing sign along Highway 190. So as you see in your packet today, that's what's being presented as part of this case today. So in the north and south elevations, we're going to be creating new panels for both Urban Air and Goldfish as noted. And then on the west side, XP Gaming and the ice cream shop, along with a reserved panel at the bottom for the future out parcel. Staff also mentioned the signage area for this sign post-renovation is actually going to be reduced by 38 square feet, but on the north and south sides, along with over 44 square feet on the west side. There's no signage planned on the east side. That's actually the side you see coming up Park Place to Highway 190, and that's going to be replaced with either a stucco band or some other similar construction material, but no signs are planned at that location. In addition to the panel additions, we're going to be removing the older kind of dated roof structure on top of this particular structure just to create a more modern sign at this location, which is going to reduce the overall height from 26 feet to 23 feet. So with that, happy to go through any questions that the board may have. We feel that this is a much-needed improvement to an older shopping center here within St. Tammany, and we're very excited about the redevelopment opportunities at this location.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that is opposed to this particular variance request? If not, I would like to call it to the attention of the board that we have dealt with this particular structure before, not this variance, but we have dealt with this particular case prior to this. So with that being said, do I have any comments from the board? Mr. Blosh.
I think it's a big improvement, quite frankly. I always assumed pylon meant one, generally speaking, but I assume this is not the case now. But it doesn't bother me at all. I think it's a huge improvement, and so I have no problems.
I like to see development that is in keeping with the aesthetics of what we would like for our area on the North Shore to have. So,
Right.
Thank you.
all right, any other further comments, or do I hear a motion?
I'll offer a motion in case 2023-3406 to approve the variance request as submitted.
Do I have a second? All right, Mr. Sanders, second. So it's been moved and seconded to grant this variance. Please vote.
Motion carries. All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. All right, moving on to VOA case 2023-3407. Request by applicant in an NC4 neighborhood institutional district for a variance to reduce portion of required side street landscape buffer from 20 to 13 feet. Property is located at 476 Falconer Drive, Covington, Louisiana, Ward 3, District 5. The applicant is Crystal Ferris Properties, LLC. Crystal Ferris, representative is Thomas Brackley. If the staff would please read their findings.
I would like to request the board to consider postponing this case. The representative informed me that they're trying to work out a solution to maybe not have to apply for a variance. So maybe staff would like to request to postpone until the next meeting.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Bosch, your motion is,
No.
No, Mr. Daly.
I'll second.
Mr. Bosch, it looked like you were going to second. The glee in your eye.
I think it's a good idea, actually. but,
I do too. It's been moved and seconded to postpone until August 1st, correct? Correct. All right. And vote, please. Oh. All right.
All in favor? Motion carries.
All right. All right, moving on to board case number 2023-3409. Request by applicant in an A2 subdivision district for a variance to allow to clear 10 feet of the required 25-foot roadway no-cut buffer and to clear 10 feet of the required 50-foot sides and rear no-cut buffers. Property is located at 79418A Crawford Road, Bush, Louisiana, Ward 5, District 6. Applicant and representative is DuPont Homes, LLC, James DuPont. Will the board please read their findings?
The applicant is requesting a variance to clear 10 feet of the required 25-foot no-cut buffer along A Crawford Road and also to clear 10 feet of the required 50-foot no-cut buffer along the sides and the rear to allow for the construction of a fence. Note that as shown on the attached drawing, the 25-foot required no-cut buffer is proposed to be maintained behind the 10-foot area to be cleared, and is the same thing here for the 50-foot no-cut buffer. It's proposed to be maintained 10 feet behind the cleared area where the fence will be constructed. Should the board be in favor of the request, it should be subject to only clear 10-foot area along the property lines and maintain the required no-cut buffers behind the 10-foot area requested to be cleared.
Thank you. Sir, will you please introduce yourself and give us your address?
James DuPont. My address is 79418 A Crawford Road, Bush, Louisiana, 70431.
Thank you, sir.
So we're requesting that the setbacks be altered so that we can reestablish the fence. We have purchased this property. It was an old cattle farm, and they have some existing barbed wire fence there now, but our cows and our neighbors' cows keep getting out. So right now, my neighbor's cow is in my fence, and so like it's just been going on for a while, and we wanted to see if we could clear a path to put some new barbed wire fence up.
All right, sir, is there anyone opposed to this variance that would like to comment? All right, with that being said, I will entertain comments from the board.
Did we not approve something similar to this a little while back?
Last month, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think we
Okay,
did too.
okay.
I think there is precedent that we have set. You know, there's nothing like a Yellowstone cow getting out.
And she was in heat too, so.
No.
Well,
So who gets the little calf in that case?
yeah, yours and ours. Huh?
All right. Any other comments from the board, please? All right, with that being said, I'll entertain a motion.
I can make a motion to approve the request as requested with the caveat that only the 10-foot area is cleared, and then to maintain the rest of the no-cut buffer outside of that 10-foot fenced area.
All right, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second that.
Mr. Bosch will second it. All right, please vote.
All in favor, motion carries.
Take care of those cows.
Thank you so much.
All right, final case for today is BOA case 2023-3413. Request by applicant in a planned unit development overlay for a variance to reduce the front setback from 14 feet to 12 feet. The property is located at 118 Covington Cottage Lane, Covington, Louisiana, Ward 3, District 2. Applicant and Representative Jim Solvent. Will the staff please read their findings?
The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the required front setback on Lot 65 from 14 feet to 12 feet to allow for the construction of a single-family residence. The reason for the requested reduction of the setback is due to the presence of a large and deeper parish right-of-way located between the edge of the road and the front property line of Lot 65. As shown on the attached drawing, the right-of-way is larger and deeper in front of the lot in question because of the configuration of Covington Cottage Lane, making a slight curve directly in front of the lot. The larger and deeper right-of-way will require the construction of a longer driveway and make the residence appear to be further away from the edge of the concrete road or Covington Cottage Lane. However, it will not prevent the construction of a residence on the lot. Note that the four abutting lots to the south are identical in size, 50-foot wide by 60-foot in depth, as the Lot 65, and developed with residences located 14 feet from the front property line, as required by the PUD.
All right, thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm Jim Salvant, and I'm representing the request for a variance.
And your address, please.
I live at 313 Opine Court, Covington, Louisiana.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm requesting the variance for the setback to be reduced from 14 feet to 12 feet, as it's a really small property line, I guess, that's already set forth. And what this will do, currently the way the house is designed is it's basically a box, or it's a rectangle, square, if you will. And what the variance would do is allow us to pull, like the living room and bedroom wall 2 feet towards the street to give it a little better aesthetic look, as majority of the houses in the area over there have that look rather than just a flat facade, if you will. I think when that lot was, the setbacks were set, this Covington Cottage, that was the last lot, and there was probably a dead end. Since then, DSLV has developed the left, several acres into a subdivision. So in doing so, what it did was when they tied in that street, they angled the street away from Lot 65 to make it look like it's a much larger front yard. And so I thought that, bringing just 2 feet would give the elevation a better aesthetic look to the house, kind of keeping with the rest of the homes in that area. So that was my request.
All right, so is there anyone here opposed to this variance? Seeing no one, I'll entertain questions from Mr. Swindell.
Have you spoken with the neighbors?
Well, we own the house to the right, and the neighbor to the left, I could never get them when they were there, when I would go over there.
Yeah, is there an
The-
HOA that's involved in this neighborhood?
There's no HOA involved with this. Now, the house to the left is
Right.
significantly further to the front, just the way the street has curved, so.
So facing the lot, you own the house to the right?
Correct. I could approve that for them.
Yeah, I'm assuming you have no objection.
Right.
I was assuming. Mr. Daly?
Yeah. It's lot 66, I was just clarifying the one that you own, the next door.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we do sometimes, given circumstances of unusually sized lots or with unusual characteristics, have approved variances like this. But staff has said that, there's no, your buildable area is the same as the other lots on the street. However, we do have this transition point to the second phase of the project, so it makes it slightly different. But, the buildable area isn't any different than the lots to the, you said right, so I'll just say right. I can't remember, it's to the south, I think.
the
But,
Yes, correct.
yeah, okay.
All right, Mr. Belash?
I'll just weigh in and say this, just like Ms. Daly said, these are types of properties or lot dimensions that we have in the past allowed for some variance. I don't see how this, in my opinion, would present any problem for the neighborhood, or I don't think we're going to set any crazy precedent because of it. So my vote would probably be in favor of this.
I think as long as the neighbor to the right approves. You have an in there. Are there any other comments from the board before calling for a motion? All right, I'd like to call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance as requested.
It's been moved to accept the variance. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Sanders seconds. Please vote.
All in favor, motion carries.
Okay. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Tell your neighbor we said hi.
I sure will.
All right. So old business, I know that probably Mr. Valentine would want to know about our cards or credentials or whatever.
So I haven't heard back from HR. I will have to contact them again to see if it's possible
Okay.
to get the ID.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. I would like to open for new business. Anything else under old that I'm missing? Any new business? Other than thank you for my little waddles today, but anyway. And I was going to say, and I do want it noted that we had 11, well, actually only 9 cases, and we got it done by 3. So, and my granddaughters will be thrilled that I'm home. So, back to the pool as evidenced. All right. With that being said, I would like to call for adjournment of the meeting. All those in favor? Aye. Or should I do it like Tom? And the next meeting is August 1st.